Most stories of lost empires begin with ruins, broken stones, toppled pillars, fragments of once mighty dreams. But this story begins differently. On a scorching morning in 1897, deep in the Nevada desert, a team of miners stumbled upon a clay jar buried 12 feet beneath the shifting sands. Inside, a handwritten diary, its pages brittle with age, revealed not just stories of a vanished people, but maps of rivers, cities, and mountains that did not exist in any known history. The ink, somehow preserved, hinted at knowledge centuries ahead of its time. The first line of the diary chilled the miners to their bones. If these words are read by one who seeks the truth, know that empires rise and fall, yet secrets buried shall outlive kings and conquerors alike. No historian knew the author. No map marked the locations described. Yet every entry detailed a civilization that had thrived in North America thousands of years before Columbus, leaving behind technologies, writings, and art that rivaled the great cultures of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley. This is the story of that forgotten empire, a story suppressed, dismissed, and almost lost to time. But the diary and the discoveries that followed would challenge everything Americans think they know about the ancient past of their own land. Chapter 1. The Desert's Secret. It began with a miner named Thomas Blackwell, a man hardened by years of gold and silver hunts in the Nevada deserts. On a day when the sun painted the sands in blinding gold, his pick struck something unnatural, something too smooth to be stone. Brushing away the sand revealed the top of a jar, its surface engraved with unfamiliar symbols. Curiosity overcame caution. Carefully, Thomas pried the jar open, and the air inside smelled faintly of earth, metal, and ink. Within lay the diary, wrapped in animal hide. Its cover bore a single symbol, a circle intersected by two lines, forming a shape no historian could recognize. Thomas didn't read the diary immediately. He wrapped it in cloth and carried it to the nearest town, unaware that his discovery would ignite a centuries-old battle over history itself, a battle between scholars, treasure hunters, and secret societies determined to hide the truth. Thomas Blackwell arrived in Carson City with the mysterious jar wrapped tightly under his arm. The streets were dusty, filled with the echoes of horse hooves and the chatter of miners, merchants, and fortune-seekers. No one could have predicted that an ordinary man like Thomas would hold the key to rewriting North America's ancient history. He handed the diary to a local historian, Professor Elias Harper, a man of reputation and skepticism. Harper's brow furrowed as he carefully unwrapped the hide covering. Every page was filled with a flowing script, neither Latin, Greek, nor any indigenous script known to the learned professor. Yet, as he scanned the symbols, Harper realized some patterns resembled mathematical and astronomical notations, remarkably advanced for a civilization supposedly unknown. This cannot be from our timeline," Harper muttered under his breath. Thomas asked, "What do you mean?" Harper's eyes gleamed with a mix of fear and excitement. "If these words are read by one who seeks the truth, know that empires rise and fall, yet secrets buried shall outlive kings and conquerors alike." No historian knew the author. No map marked the locations described. Yet every entry detailed a civilization that had thrived in North America thousands of years before Columbus, leaving behind technologies, writings, and art that rivaled the great cultures of Egypt, Mesopotamia, and the Indus Valley. This is the story of that forgotten empire, a story suppressed, dismissed, and almost lost to time. But the diary and the discoveries that followed would challenge everything Americans think they know about the ancient past of their own land. Teaser for Chapter 3. The next chapter will take Thomas and Harper on their first expedition into the desert, following the diary's maps. They will encounter cryptic ruins, Bronze Age artifacts, and strange markings that hint at a technologically advanced society. Shadows of the past begin to converge with the present, and the line between history and myth starts to blur. The following morning, Thomas and Professor Harper set out into the Nevada desert, guided only by the diary's hand-drawn maps. The sun had just begun its ascent, painting the dunes in shades of gold and ochre, yet the desert felt unusually silent, as if holding its breath. The diary described a river that no longer existed, flowing through what was now a barren wasteland. Harper traced the lines on the map with his finger. If we follow this path precisely, we should find the first city, or what remains of it. Hours passed, and the relentless desert heat pressed down on them. The diary's descriptions became increasingly vivid. Towering stone pillars, walls adorned with bronze inlays, and streets wide enough to accommodate chariots. By late afternoon, Harper spotted something unusual: a flat, polished surface partially buried beneath the sand. Thomas knelt to brush away the grains. Beneath lay a stone tablet, etched with symbols strikingly similar to the diary, but larger and more complex. The bronze-colored lines shimmered in the sunlight, revealing maps of stars, rivers, and unknown constellations. Harper gasped. This is real. Every detail in the diary matches this tablet." As they moved deeper into the desert, more artifacts appeared. Fragments of bronze machinery, pottery inscribed with pictographs, and remnants of stone structures perfectly aligned with the cardinal directions. It became clear that the people who lived here possessed knowledge that rivaled the greatest ancient civilizations. But with discovery came unease. Strange markings in the sand suggested they were not alone. Tracks led towards the ruins, yet there was no sign of animals. Thomas's instincts screamed danger. "Professor, we might be followed." Harper nodded grimly. "Perhaps by those who still guard the secrets of this empire." As night fell, the desert revealed its most chilling secret. A low hum seemed to rise from the sands themselves, vibrating through the air. The ruins glowed faintly under the moonlight, the bronze inlays catching the silver beams in an almost deliberate pattern. It was as if the city, long dead, was waking up for the first time in thousands of years. At dawn, Thomas and Harper stood before what the diary had described as the central temple, but the sight was far grander than anything they had imagined. Rising from the sands was a massive stone structure, circular in shape, with walls inlaid with bronze, copper, and the strange dark metal that gleamed like obsidian. The inscriptions carved along its facade matched the diary script exactly. Harper traced the symbols with awe. "This is not just a city, it's a center of knowledge. Whoever built this understood astronomy, engineering, and perhaps even chemistry at levels we can barely imagine." The main entrance was guarded by enormous stone doors, engraved with astronomical charts. As Harper studied them, he realized the charts corresponded to star alignments that occurred only once every few thousand years. It was a calendar, a map, and a machine all at once. Thomas pushed the doors open, revealing an enormous hall. Inside, bronze instruments covered every surface, gears, levers, and wheels, interconnected in ways that hinted at a mechanical understanding beyond the modern 19th century. Harper's eyes widened. This is like an observatory, a laboratory, and a library all combined. They must have measured the stars, tracked the rivers, and recorded history in ways we cannot yet decode. On the walls, pictographs depicted a civilization at its peak, people building vast cities, transporting massive stones, and conducting rituals with devices that resembled primitive power generators. Then Thomas noticed a section of the floor with a pattern of concentric.
Thomas adjusted the conduits, following Harper's instructions. Slowly, one corridor at a time, they advanced, feeling the city react to their presence, not with hostility, but as a test. Every mechanism they passed was a reminder of the civilization's genius and their catastrophic downfall. Finally, they reached a massive bronze door, larger and more intricate than any they had seen. Symbols indicated the inner sanctum and the true core of the city's knowledge. Harper's voice trembled. This is it. Beyond this door lies the secrets of their rise, their mastery of energy, and their destruction. One misstep now, and everything we've uncovered could be lost, or worse, turned deadly. Thomas tightened his grip on his lantern. Then we step carefully. The city is alive, and it's watching every move. The massive bronze doors groaned as Thomas and Harper pushed them open, revealing a chamber bathed in a surreal golden light. At the center stood a towering crystalline core, surrounded by bronze conduits and intricate machinery that pulsed with a steady, almost lifelike rhythm. Harper stepped forward cautiously. This is the heart of the city. Every device we've seen, every mechanism, every map, it all converges here. Thomas looked around, noticing murals on the walls illuminated by the core's glow. They depicted the empire's history, thriving cities, advanced machines, and rivers redirected with precision. Then came the disaster, rivers bursting their banks, fires sweeping through cities, and the crystalline cores glowing uncontrollably. The pictograph showed the people fleeing, but the machines followed relentlessly, their own creations consuming them. Harper whispered, "They didn't fall to invaders. They fell to themselves. Their energy devices amplified beyond control. They tried to master nature, the stars, even time, and they failed." The core pulsed stronger, and the chamber trembled. A low hum resonated through the floor, and shadows shifted unnaturally along the walls. The guardians they had bypassed in the corridors now emerged from hidden alcoves, their crystal eyes glowing fiercely. Thomas gripped Harper's arm. "So the city defends itself, even now." Harper nodded. "It's a test and a warning. If we touch the wrong mechanisms, the same catastrophe could happen again." Using the crystal conduits, they carefully synchronized the beams of light, activating patterns on the machinery. Slowly, the hum stabilized, and the guardians halted, stepping back as if acknowledging their caution. Harper studied the core. "The city is teaching restraint. It's showing us the consequences of hubris, the exact reason they disappeared." Suddenly, a beam from the crystalline core illuminated a hidden compartment. Inside were detailed copper plates, star maps, and energy schematics, revealing the city's pinnacle of technological achievement. Among them was a warning: those who seek to wield our power must understand balance, or perish as we did. Thomas exhaled slowly. "The diary was right. This knowledge is incredible, but dangerous. We're standing at the edge of something no one else has ever seen." Harper nodded gravely. "And now we have a choice: study carefully and respect the limits, or risk repeating history." The chamber pulsed softly around them, as if alive, a silent reminder that the city's legacy was not just knowledge, but a lesson written in energy, stone, and crystal. For Thomas and Harper, the inner sanctum had revealed both the brilliance and the peril of a civilization lost to time. The inner sanctum hummed with energy as Thomas and Harper carefully examined the copper plates, crystal conduits, and bronze instruments. Harper spread out the star charts on the floor, aligning them with the crystal core's pulsing beams. "These devices," Harper murmured, "aren't just for observation. They manipulate water flow, track seasonal cycles, and even store energy. Every mechanism is interconnected, forming a network across the entire city. They predicted everything, from seasonal floods to solar alignments. The level of precision, it's extraordinary." Thomas pointed to a series of bronze levers connected to crystal conduits. "If we activate these correctly, can we control the city's systems?" Harper hesitated. "Yes, but we must be careful. One wrong movement could trigger the remaining defenses. The city isn't just a relic. It's still alive, and it protects itself." They carefully manipulated the levers, aligning the light beams from the crystal conduits. Slowly, water channels outside shifted, aqueducts glowing perfectly, and mechanical platforms moved in synchrony. The chamber vibrated gently, a sign of the city responding, not with hostility, but acknowledgement. Then, without warning, one of the guardians from the corridors activated inside the inner sanctum. Its crystal eyes glowed red, and its massive bronze limbs clicked menacingly. Harper whispered urgently, "It's testing us, our understanding. We can't just fight it. We have to show knowledge, precision, and caution." Thomas followed Harper's instructions, using the crystal beams and aligned levers to create a pattern of light and energy that neutralized the Guardian's activation sequence. The machine halted, stepping back, almost reverentially, as the city recognized their restraint. Harper scribbled notes furiously. "It's a teaching mechanism. Every defense is designed to punish recklessness or reward understanding. This civilization survived for millennia by mastering both power and prudence, and their city is a living testament to that philosophy." The two men continued to decode the mechanisms, discovering that the city could control localized weather, regulate river flows, and even store solar energy in the crystalline cores. They realized the full scale of the empire's technological genius, and simultaneously, the reason for its sudden collapse. They had tried to control extend beyond safe limits. Thomas looked around at the glowing crystals and humming machines. "It's beautiful and terrifying. We have the knowledge of an empire, but also the weight of its mistakes." Harper nodded gravely. "Exactly. We can learn, but if we misuse it, the city will not hesitate to correct us, just as it corrected them."
The journey back across the desert felt different this time. The sands no longer seemed barren or empty. Thomas and Harper sensed currents of meaning beneath every dune, as if the buried empire was watching them depart. The air vibrated faintly, subtle shifts of warmth and pressure that they would have dismissed before their discovery. Now they recognized it for what it truly was, a whisper of forgotten mechanisms stirring in acknowledgement. They walked in silence for hours until the ridge faded behind them. At last, Harper spoke, her voice thoughtful. "Do you think the world is ready for what we found?" Thomas didn't answer immediately. He scanned the horizon, imagining cities, governments, corporations, all the entities that would seek control if they knew. "No," he finally said. "Not yet. Knowledge like this, the wrong hands would see it as a weapon, not a warning." Harper nodded slowly. "Then we tell no one?" "We tell those who must know, and only when we are sure they understand its cost." By midday, they reached their truck, half buried from the shifting winds. Harper wiped dust from the windshield while Thomas secured their pack. Within it, a single crystal conduit fragment, small enough to hold, yet powerful enough to shift the course of history if misused. They had taken it not as treasure, but as proof. "To remind us," Harper whispered, touching the fragment gently. They began the drive toward civilization. The desert stretched endlessly behind them, and yet
Neither could shake the feeling that something traveled with them, an unseen presence, watchful, cautious,